Hello, beautiful beings of light. It is Aurora from Translucent Truth Yoga here to deliver you the weekly intuitive energy update for the week of February 1st, 2022. So, welcome if you have never been here before, and if you have, welcome back. This week we're going to do it a bit different. I have 3 different topics that I'm going to talk about. They're pretty packed, they're pretty loaded. I have no notes today, so I'm just going to kind of dive in with you guys. I have some browsers open that I'm actually going to read from for you guys, so that way I didn't have to it's a lot of information, so it was just easier for me to just have my slides up and just kind of run through them. Usually I'll kind of condense it into a few things and kind of integrate a couple other things, but this week there's just so much that I was like, you know what, I'm just going to bang out, I'm just going to read it with you guys and kind of explain how energies kind of work together. So we have the new moon in Aquarius, which I'm going to actually break down into Aquarius energy and new moon energy, and then we're kind of going to merge them together so that this way you guys can kind of have an understanding of how I even come up with this information, right? So it all starts astrology based, and then I use my intuition as well from knowledge that I already have, right? So because of everything going on right now in Ottawa, and that kind of has rippled out to the world, this Aquarian new moon and the Chinese New Year, which I don't think I have said yet, the Chinese New Year is also something I'm going to talk about. So as all of this is kind of coming to fruition, it's just divine timing, and it's so amazing to see how much is going on symbolically, astrologically, and in the new Chinese New Year, and then also the Imbolc as well, right? So this pagan tradition, this Celtic tradition, where people are celebrating the light coming back, right? Which is such an analogy for where humans have been, in the last however long this Kali Yuga age is, right? I actually don't know off the top of my head, but we're coming out of the dark ages and we're entering into the golden age of Aquarius, right? The light age. So it's an analogy for also where humans are at as a collective right now. And it was just 2:22 on the time, so it's so perfect. So, okay, so I'm just going to get right into it. I have this incense burning behind me as well, so there's also some smudging going on, some energy clearing behind me. So just so you guys know that, there's also that going on. So I'm going to get right into it. So we have the Aquarius zodiac, so personality, energies, and attitudes. It says Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, member of fixed quality masculine and air element. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, member of I just read that. The Aquarius symbol is made up of ripples and sometimes the water carrier. The ruling planet is Saturn. The sun enters the sign Aquarius around the 21st of January and leaves around the 19th of February. This is the second month of winter in the northern hemisphere, and the personality and nature of Aquarius reflects the cleanliness of rainwater and snow in nature. The past is left behind and new return is prepared. In Aquarius, the impulses of the soul are oriented towards the general good. So I just want to stop there for a minute and bring in this awareness. So the Aquarian energy is, like they just said, for the general good, right? So we're working with this energy right now that's supporting the highest good of all, right? Its opposing sign is Leo, which means that they sit across from each other. And Leo is very egocentric, they're very focused around themselves, and they struggle to kind of put themselves in other people's shoes. So it's kind of like the opposite energy of that, right? Whereas the Aquarians, they're very forward movement thinkers. They want to basically do things. Their actions in this world are based off of being able to, and I'm seeing humanitarian pop out right now, right? Just being able to bring people together, to be able to provide, a purer, more authentic, clean way of living, right, for the collective. Okay, so the key word for Aquarians are I understand. It says the descriptors for them is original and shocking, which I think it really suits kind of what's going on right now in the collective, and what's going on, people waking up, people saying no more, people coming together. Okay, so some attributes is alternative, authentic, agile, bright, cordial, creative, confident, controlling, aware, direct, eccentric, futuristic, ingenious, humanitarian, independent, inclusive, intolerant, logical, changeable, thorough, provocative, insightful, rebellious, strict, reserved, revolutionary, social, and stubborn. Okay, guys, so this is all coming into focus right now while we have this this new moon today, actually. It's, oh no, it's the 31st. Oh, looks like I said the date wrong. Whatevs, no big deal. In my mind, because everything's happening tomorrow, I was thinking it was the beginning of the week, but that's okay. Okay, let's see what else wants to be in here. So Aquarius, positive energies of the Aquarius sign. So the Aquarians in a favorable way are charming, supportive, kind, and compassionate. Aquarius is smart, insightful, and logical. As a rule, they don't care about what others think. They are confident and trustworthy people. They are they are exactly what they show to be. Nothing is faked. Excellent listeners, they are genuinely interested in the issues of others and seek to help with insightful and clear advice. Aquarius only sees people and considers them all the same. They love to gather groups of friends, which they have in abundance, and spend long hours talking about ideals and sharing experiences. They have the ability to think outside the box, thinking about creative solutions and seeing old problems from new perspectives. So I want to say that again right there, actually. So thinking about creative solutions and seeing old problems from new perspectives. Okay, so being able to shift out of these limiting beliefs, kind of being the positive cheerleader for the collective right now, that energy that's kind of everybody's growing into, you know, the unification of everybody, the giving us our freedom back, actually acknowledging that it's been taken, which is huge for the collective, right? And then what else does it say? So the great capacity and intellectual agility leads them to be involved in several activities simultaneously and to develop multiple interests. They are the glue of the zodiac, the element that connects various people and ideas. So isn't that funny that right now, the glue of the zodiac, we have this new moon in, and we're also in that energy, right? Actually, I think we're just coming out of it. So, no, we're just coming into it, sorry. So January 21st, so we've been in it for 10 days. Oh my God, and Mercury Retrograde's ending. Okay. I'm going to open up a tab just to remind me to talk about it. See, I got to have notes, guys, but that's okay. I wanted to try it a bit different this week. Okay, cool. So back to Aquarius, guys, okay? So I'm just giving you all this information so that you can have an idea of what the energetics are right now in this new moon, but also for the next, till February 19th, it's saying. Okay, so how to improve. If you are a native of the Aquarius sign, so channel your rebellious energy into a cause you can help. Take other people's emotions into account. Try to be a little more patient when you have to be accountable to third parties. Review facts carefully before making a decision. Your stubbornness can make it difficult for you to go there. And then strive to be more patient and to get to know people you think are shallow. Give second chances. Be tolerant of less progressive people. That's a good one, guys. Okay, be tolerant of less progressive people. Because as we're going through this, you can't judge people. They don't know. People don't know, and that's just that. You have to learn to let go, release, and allow for people to have their own beliefs. And that's the whole point of this movement, right? Like, we're not here to say anything other than let's bring everybody together, let's honor each other, let's just evolve and grow past all of this like resistance to change, right? Actually, I want to talk about this disharmonic potential, it says. So this is the negative side of the Aquarian energy. So arrogant, controlling, aloof, suspicious, defensive, extreme, egocentric, emotionally complex, ruthless, intolerant, impatient, unpredictable, changeable, touchy, provocative, radical, rebellious, resentful, and stubborn. Okay, so these are kind of like the lower energies of this sign, but I really feel that we're really being supported in the healthy aspects of this sign, like as a collective. But say you're not in that energy of kind of rising above, if you're kind of in the lower energies right now, then you're going to be, you know, feeling very freaking irritated by all of us that are fighting for our freedoms right now, right? So just to give you some perspective there. Okay, so living with a native of the Aquarius sign. So be direct and frank. Aquarians appreciate polite directness. In the case of confrontation, use reason. Stick to facts, not emotions. Give them the freedom to express themselves and think they are in control of the situation. Awesome, I love it. Okay, so I'm going to end that there with the Aquarius energy, okay, guys? So hopefully that kind of helped you to have an idea. Like, Aquarians are very mental energy. They're an air sign, and air sign is mental energy. And they're also a fixed sign, which I don't really fully know what that means, but I know that I'm a mutable sign, like Pisces is like a water sign, right? So we're just very flow energy. So that means because they're a mutable sign, or sorry, a fixed sign, they're just a lot more rigid. They're a lot more like stuck in their ways, seeing the world on a one-track mind type deal, right? So, you know, which is a good thing sometimes, right? Like if you have too much chaos, you need to bring in the organization and the left brain and disconnecting from the emotions and the whole 9 yards, right? So, and especially for such a collective shift going on right now, with everybody standing up and kind of speaking their truth and standing in their power, this is very, very helpful energy, because it's super like, it's just very empowering. It's just like, yeah, like let's do this for the highest good of all, right? So it's really beautiful, actually. That and this is why I just wanted to read it to you guys, because it's just so much information, and I wanted to make sure that like I could give you guys enough information to fully understand. And I'm still learning about Aquarius, so now I have an even better idea, right? Okay. So now we're going to go into the new moon here, guys. So the new moon is in Aquarius, okay? I'm just going to turn my phone off so I don't get distracted. Keeps lighting up. Okay, so we're going into the new moon here. So why do new moons happen? A new moon happens once a month when the moon and the sun conjoin in the sky, setting off a new cycle of light. When the moon is new, it's invisible to us on Earth. Then it slowly appears as a very thin crescent of light. While the energy of a new moon lasts for about 3 days before and after the lunation, the moon is technically only new for a moment, when the sun and the moon are directly aligned in the sky. So what's the spiritual meaning and significance of the new moon? The new moon is a time to set intentions and launch new projects. Since new moons happen once a month and signify the beginning of a cycle, you can think of them as a cosmic reset. The new moon is an ideal time to set intentions and goals that you'll develop as the moon waxes towards fullness. Connecting to these lunar energies can provide grounding and a sense of direction. Okay. After the new moon, the light starts to build as the moon gradually becomes more visible to us on Earth. This phase between the new and full moon is called the waxing moon. Our mission during this time is to collect energy and information as everything becomes illuminated. We can use the waxing moon momentum for building, working towards a goal, or bringing the first phases of a project to fruition. Then comes the full moon, a time for culmination and harvest. This is the peak moment that we've been working towards, when our new moon intentions reach their apex. Should we stay or should we go? Do we reap the rewards of our work or change course? As the moon becomes completely visible to us on Earth, we can see everything clearly. Next, the waning moon phase begins. As the moon recedes and the light starts to dwindle, we can begin to release what's no longer working for us. Reflect on what you've built during the waxing phase and shed what doesn't feel right. As the moon disappears from view, we can tie up any loose ends and say goodbye to what's not serving our highest purpose. Astrologically speaking, new moons occur when the sun and the moon are at the exact same degree in the zodiac sign. Full moons happen when they are in opposite signs, but the same degree. Every new moon will culminate in a corresponding full moon 6 months later. For example, a Pisces new moon will fall during Pisces season in February or March. Then the Pisces full moon will arise during Virgo season in August or September. You can set short-term goals between new and full moons every 2 weeks. Then use lunar astrology for a longer game, creating intention at a new moon that you'll develop over a 6-month window. Okay, that's really cool because, like, I mean, I've worked with the moons and I've picked up information, and mine is very just intuitive, right? So, like, I just kind of tap into my own understanding. So it was really cool to get some of that information in there. So just to recap, they kind of explained the whole moon cycle, which was really cool. But as for the new moon specifically, this is a time when you can't see the moon in the sky, right? So that's why it's called a new moon. There's no illumination. And so this is kind of like an internal process, right? This is when we're going within, we're kind of planting our seeds, we're shedding what we realize isn't serving us anymore so that we can reap our reward come the full moon, right? And this, again, they say every 2 weeks, right? So you have the full moon, or sorry, the new moon, and then the full moon, and the new moon, and then the full moon, right? So you have these 28-day cycles that connect you to the rhythm, to the energy of what's going on, like what we're kind of being blasted with, right? So taking this into account, guys, I'm sharing this so that you can understand how you take, you know, the Aquarian energy and the new moon energy and how they create this Aquarian new moon energy, right? So if we're thinking about Aquarians, like, they're very innovative, they're very forward thinking, they're working for the highest good of all, they're humanitarian energy. And then we have the new moon, which is all about shedding what isn't serving us, as is Aquarius, because Aquarius is like, okay, this isn't working, let's get into our mind, let's start getting creative, let's start thinking about, you know, how we can shift out of this, if not this situation, at least the perspective of this situation, right? So it's like working with these energies. It's like, okay, so we're being basically like lifted by these light energies that are infiltrating our field right now, on the earth, right? And so you could call it the Schumann resonance. There's so many names, right? And just the sun energy, the energy coming from the sun. There's a bunch of light beings that are here also helping us too, right? So all of it combined is kind of just like raising us up above what's going on. Like, that Aquarian energy really helps us to connect to our higher perspective and for the highest good of all, right? So it's like we're rising above right now in this energy. So this also, I'm talking collective a lot right now with like Ottawa and with people speaking up and saying the truth and the whole 9 yards. But I mean, even in your own personal life, right? Like being able to say, hey, this isn't working for me anymore. Hey, you know, I'd really appreciate if you could do this instead, you know, like actually realizing, you know, where you have power and where you don't, and kind of where you're giving your power away, and where you can take your power back, right? So this Aquarius energy and the new moon energy is simultaneously allowing us to kind of rise above our limiting beliefs, rise above our problems, and kind of like just cut the cords, like just super simply, right? And just as I was saying that, I noticed the smoke here coming out from my ears. Yeah, so like that's kind of how and it was just 1818, that's kind of how these energies can work together, okay? So it's like, as we're just basically supported in releasing what's not serving us anymore, right? And actually, I'm going to touch on Mercury retrograde right now real quick, just because. So we've spent the last 3 weeks in Mercury retrograde. That's kind of part of why January was so intense, okay? Because Mercury retrograde is all about communication, and when it's retrograde, it means like there's going to be discrepancies and discords within communication. So if you've been feeling really emotional, if you've been feeling like super disconnected from yourself, if you're like not connecting to anybody, if you're like, what the fuck's going on? The energy of the Mercury retrograde is kind of, we're coming out of it now, right? So like that's been 3 weeks of deep, you know, like just inner purging. And that's also why everybody's getting all of this boost of energy too, because as a collective, a global collective, not just here in Canada, but of all the world, because now people are starting to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to follow suit here because this is bullshit and I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to play the game. So, you know, we're all empowering each other, and we're all like about to rise, and whatever comes of that, who knows? Because we each have to do our own individual work in order for the collective to actually rise, right? So it's like, that's why we're being focused so much right now. Like, we're getting inspired by this collective unification. and it's going to really connect us. I went to meditation the other day, yesterday, and like my meditation mama, my galactic space mama, she like talked about how, you know, there was about 8 of us, 7 of us in there, and then her as well, and she had us under, and like we're meditating, she's guiding us through, and she kind of said, okay guys, we're now us 7, 8 beings here that are working together doing this beautiful sacred work. Our heartbeats are going to start beating together, okay, and we're going to start holding this frequency of the heartbeat, all of us, creating this field for everybody to start basically tapping into and unifying with this collective heartbeat, right? Which is cool because that's just coming through right now. I didn't think about it before, right? But that is exactly why we're doing this work, right? Is so that we can start raising the frequency. Like, I don't need to go to Ottawa in order to be doing, you know, anything to help like that situation. Like for me personally, like I'm not being called there, and I'm very content doing my work here and sitting here doing the energy update and getting meditation classes going and getting yoga classes going and really giving people a space to come, a safe space to just relax, unwind, process their stuff, get into their body, get out of their heads, you know, just to feel like normal again, you know, like just to have a sense of normalcy and a sense of groundedness, right? So it's really cool when we really learn to listen to ourselves and where we're being guided, because there were so many people that were like, oh yeah, let's go. And I'm just like, you know what, like honestly, I had a lot of fun sending them off last week from where I live, and that fulfilled me. Like that made me so happy. And then I've been listening to the trucker stations as well, so I get to kind of peek in and see what's going on there. So you know what, I just am enjoying it from afar and doing my work that I've been spending years and years and years practicing so that I could step into this now moment and actually be of service when people really need it the most, right? So anyway, the Mercury retrograde, the whole point of that is that kind of like sludge in our communication is being cleared now. Like we're now going to be accelerated forward, because it's like the bow and arrow, right? Like as far back as you're going to pull is as far as it can kind of slingshot forward. So the amount of work that you kind of, you know, went into at this time, mentally, emotionally, physically, situationally, whatever it is, that you've kind of been purging or clearing, and it may not even be a conscious thing. Maybe just relationships kind of fizzed out, or jobs, or you even realized, wait a minute, this isn't working for me, I need to change it. You will be supported moving forward, because we are entering into this very uplifting energy as a collective, and it is inspiring people. And then so what's kind of like the result of all of this stuff, all of this like, hey, give me my rights back, give me my freedoms back, like it's not just going to magically create a new system, right? And I think that this is going to be hard for a lot of people to transition as we go through this next kind of like, this is just the beginning of the end, right? Like we're just at the beginning of the end, right? And we still have a couple more years in this energy till we're really going to be solidified again as a collective. But so much is shifting. We're revamping, and like there's that Aquarian energy again, right? Very innovative, very forward thinking, very like for the highest good of all, right? Like people are like, wait a minute, like I don't want my kids to live in this fucking world. Like I have children, like this is very concerning to me, right? And so this is part of why I don't have children, is because I've really dedicated myself to my mission. And mind you, I'm one of 7 kids, and my mom's ran home daycare my whole life, so it's not like I have, you know, like I have that fulfillment, you know, like I know that when my time comes, it'll come. By the way, it's January 31st and it's 3:10, so there's that mirror of the 31. But anyways, so yeah, like people are just like, wait a minute, how is this all going to work? And my belief is that if you have a service to provide, you will be fine. Okay, so that's why everyone needs to start getting into this creative energy. Like, well, you're just so used to like working, trading your time for money, and then getting a paycheck at the end. And then that's the only way that we perceive that we can bring money in, when there's actually like infinite amount of avenues. It's just about cracking open your limiting beliefs so that you can rise above, so that you can actually anchor in and embody a complete different reality, right? You're like one thought away, one new belief away from living a complete different reality, right? So that's why it's so important to do this inner work, to realize where it is you're limiting yourself, where it is that, you know, you just need to give yourself a little bit extra attention, a little bit extra love, and it really is that simple. And then once you start really like showing up for yourself, then you're gold because you're taken care of, you're nurtured, right? Okay, so we did the Aquarius, we did the new moon, talked about Mercury retrograde, now Imbolc and the Chinese New Year 2022. We're going into the Tiger, the year of the Tiger. So let's do that first. I'm just feeling guided. So I didn't actually get this one up. So year of the Tiger. So last year was the year of the ox. Okay, I'm just going to intuitively read these animals real quick. Like I'm going to read the year of the tiger, but the year of the ox, you know, like that's a very like grounded energy, right? Like that's like a very large animal. Like you don't want to be fucking around with an ox, right? And even though I'm sure they wouldn't bother you, but like maybe they would. I don't even know much about oxes, but I'm just more or less thinking of the physical side of them, right? When you think about an ox and what they represent, like it's not like a fish, right? Like they're very like grounded earth energy, right? And so like last year, that's kind of, you know, and again, this is just intuitive. I don't know anything about the year of the ox, but you know, like we really were basically being asked to like ground, you know, and figure out what's serving you, what's not, kind of what are your beliefs, where are you going, what's the direction. It's very like earth-based energy, right? And so now we're entering into the year of the tiger, and intuitively I'm just picking up from the animal itself. It's very like, it's almost like I'm feeling like a sports team, you know, like you know how people get really hyped up for games and like that, like this camaraderie, this excitement, this unification, but also the division, but within the division there's that unification, right? And so that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling with the year of the tiger. So this is going to be cool to read about it and see what they say here. Okay, so tigers are the third of the zodiac. Chinese zodiacs. According to legend, Tiger was confident that no one could compete with its speed and vigor for the celestial race that would decide the order of the zodiacs. However, when Tiger climbed out of the river thinking he was first, it was informed the rat placed first for its cunning and ox placed second for its diligence. This left the king of the jungle having to settle for third place. That's so funny. I'm the rat. I'm a rat, so that's so funny. Okay, tigers are courageous and active people who love a good challenge and adventure in life. Like their eponymous zodiac animals, sorry, I don't know that word. People born in years of the tiger are vigorous and ambitious, daring and courageous, enthusiastic and generous, self-confident with a sense of justice and a commitment to help others for the greater good. Yeah, check it, guys. So there's that energy again. Like 2022 is just, it's going to be a beautiful year. It's also going to be a very, you know, transformative year for a lot of people, which means that there's a lot of change, which means there's going to be a lot of grief happening, right? If there's things that are held within your heart, your psyche, your body, then this is all going to be being released, right? And you're going to have to learn how to surrender just to what is, right? And stop resisting the change. And then as you learn to stop resisting the change, you'll be invited to embody the results of you basically releasing your traumas and pains that you've been carrying for a long time. Okay, so Tiger's personality, strengths, and weaknesses. So I'm going to just go into the strengths and weaknesses. Tigers are courageous and authoritative, although they have a cute and charming side as well to those who know them more intimately. Their ambitions run sky high, however, and tigers will never treat them as a pipe dream or treat them as pipe dreams. They are adventurers with the courage to be a pioneer in the line of work that they choose. They work tirelessly to realize their dream of changing the world in some way, one step at a time. Tigers never mince their words, but always speak forthrightly and boldly. They are honest and judicious, almost chivalrous in a way that does not seem to fit the modern world. This quality makes them natural leaders that others gravitate towards. They have a strong sense of responsibility and will always keep their word and uphold their obligations. And the weaknesses is tigers can be very rebellious, often too self-confident to want to coordinate or communicate with others. That frequently leaves them lonely. They may find themselves isolated at work or in the community. They can be dictators with potential love interests and unable to create a happy family life. Likewise, they may have a lot of acquaintances or professional contacts, but may not have any real friends. No one likes to always be alone. That is a fact that the proud tiger has to learn to accept in themselves. In pursuit of their goals and ambition, tigers can be stubborn and brash, possibly willing to use whatever means to achieve their goals. This can appear too domineering for others' tastes because, with such single-minded focus on their pursuit, tigers may very well disregard others' feelings. Perfect. So interesting. I'm seeing like tigers, like they want to work for the highest good of all, but they struggle with their ego, right? They struggle with the heart-centered aspect of it because they're like, what do you mean? Like, this is how you do it, ABC 1, 2, 3. But then it's like, well, wait a minute. The Pisces comes in and goes, well, there's actually an infinite amount of perspective. So, but yeah, so we're going to be in this energy all year for this Chinese New Year. So this is great because this is what we need. Leaders stepping up. People kind of taking, change into their own hands, realizing where our powers are and where they're not, and taking them back in certain ways by stepping up and taking leadership in other ways, right? So it's going to be a really, really, it says lucky direction is north, right? So I hear only up from here, right? Because as we come together as a collective, as a community, don't worry about structures crumbling. Don't worry about the economy crashing. Don't worry about all these things because they weren't serving us anyway, right? And that's kind of that Aquarian and Tiger energy now that I know that. And the new moon, right? So it's like just shed what isn't serving you anymore. So there's going to be a lot of innovative people stepping up this year with this Tiger energy coming through. Like, this is going to be so... I'm excited. Like, I mean, we're 1 month in and it's already been fucking incredible. So, okay, so now we're going to go into Imbolc. Okay, so let's see. I actually haven't picked one yet. I got my juice. Okay, so the spiritual meaning of Imbolc. So what is Imbolc? Imbolc is a festival in the Celtic Wheel of the year. It takes place on the 1st or 2nd of February in the Northern Hemisphere and on the 1st to 2nd of August in the Southern Hemisphere, and is the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. The Wheel of the Year is celebrated by many spiritual seekers all over the world, indulging pagans, Wiccans, witches of all kinds, and also nature lovers who do not follow a specific spiritual tradition. It celebrates the turning of the seasons, and those who follow its rhythms mark its seasonal festival day or Sabbats. Imbolc takes place at the time of year when the sap is rising in the trees and new shoots are starting to push through the earth. So it is all about new life, new beginnings, and the birth of new ideas. The Celtic focus on the rising of the new life force from the earth has echoed of the Indian concept of Kundalini, the rising of life force in our bodies. The spiritual meaning. At this time of the year, the nights are still long and cold, but Imbolc heralds the return of the light after the darkness of winter. The word Imbolc is most commonly believed to come from an old Irish word meaning in the belly. Other interpretations say that it derives from words meaning budding, cleansing, or ewe's milk, all of which are themes of this festival. At Imbolc, the baby lambs are growing in their mother's belly and new life is stirring in the belly of the earth. I notice this so much more now that I live in the countryside in Glastonbury and am surrounded by the lambs skipping in the fields and the signs of nature waking up all around me in springtime. Imbolc is also a time of renewal. As the wheel of the year turns and many animals come out of their hibernation, we too begin to emerge from the darkness of winter and become warmed by the sun. In our personal lives, we may be moved by this fresh energy of springtime to start making plans for the year ahead and beginning projects. For this reason, Imbolc is also connected to the concept of creativity. because creativity and life force energy are the same thing. So this is also the time of the year when we sweep out the old to make space for the new, and with the tradition of spring cleaning happening around this time, and many people also putting focus on their health and well-being, committing to healthier habits as it becomes more pleasant to exercise outdoors, particularly if you live somewhere with more extreme seasons. As one of the cross-quarter days in the wheel of the year, Imbolc is a fire festival and is also connected to the hearth of the home. And so it is fitting that the goddess of Imbolc is the Celtic fire goddess Brigid, goddess of the hearth, of creativity, of inspiration, healing, birth, and new beginnings. I'm going to read a little more. They're going into Brigid, so the personification of Imbolc. The goddess Brigid is the personification of the first stirrings of new life in the spirit of Imbolc. She can help you birth new ways of being in your life and can help you nourish, nurture, and tend to them as they blossom and begin to grow. As a fire goddess, Brigid is associated with 3 different fires: the fire of hearth, the fire of the forge, and the fire in our own hearts. Her connection with fire can be seen as a metaphor for her other attributes. Stoking the fire of the hearth represents home, family, and hospitality. The fire of the forge represents creative pursuits and industry, and the fire in our own hearts represents love, healing, and inspiration. Seen as a source of inspiration and healing, many holy wells and springs are also dedicated to Brigid, and the White Spring in Glastonbury holds a special altar devoted to her. And then it just goes in saying, if you want to know more, check out their membership. So that's so cool. Oh, Rebecca Campbell, great. So this is the girl that does that Work Your Light Oracle deck that I have. So this is cool. I'm going to put these in the description today as well, so that if you guys want to kind of check out the resources, they are there. Okay, so guys, like that's that. So Imbolc is basically the celebration of life coming back after hibernation, right? So kind of like how I was explaining before with us going into the winter phase, you know, we go inside and we start, you know, having more internal processes. This is the other side of it. So we're coming out of that cycle, right? So if, you know, I think like really what I want you guys to understand this week as I'm kind of giving you all this information of just this one point in time that we're experiencing, like this happens all the time with different astrology, like astrological placements, numerology is connected in with it, even the Chinese zodiac, you know, like there's so many different ways to read energy, and that's really what I think this week is showing you as I'm kind of giving you guys all this new information. So we have the new moon in Aquarius, we have the Chinese New Year, we have the celebration of Imbolc, and then we have Mercury Retrograde kind of coming out of retrograde, right? So it's going direct. So all this information, like I'm just giving it to you so that you have this greater awareness and understanding of like how I can read the energies, of how I have this awareness of what the energies are, is because I just kind of eclectically pick up information, and then I'm the one that, you know, processes it and brings it all back down to the ground here so that we can, you know, understand it in a practical way. So I think I just want to close my eyes for a minute and just kind of see before I get the cards out, just like if anything wants to come through, because that was a lot of information and I don't have any notes today. Like I do, I don't want to do it. I have them over there, but I just want to tap in. Okay, so this higher guidance that's coming through, like, wants us to kind of understand that in order for us to have a new reality here, we have to create it. In order for us to see a difference in the world, we have to change ourselves. And honestly, it's a beautiful thing, because when you start shifting your internal reality to start noticing things more like gratitude and trust and faith over fear, lack, shame, guilt, the whole 9 yards, you actually start seeing the world that way, you know, like you actually start attracting experiences that support your new frequency, right? Because if you're always negative, if you're always pessimistic, if you're always watching the news and you're like, oh my God, the world's falling apart, blah. It's like, you know what, dude, turn off the fucking news, stop listening to all the fear-based stuff, go like out in nature, connect to the silence, connect to the rhythms of the earth, connect to yourself, right? And so that's really what that's doing, is creating this disconnect from yourself, from your higher self, from source, from God, from the universe, and connecting you into this fear-based programming. Now, we've all been raised on it, so we don't really know any different until you know different, right? So it's kind of just like understanding and like having patience with other people, I think, too, is like a really, really big thing. Because mind you, I was having all these realizations while the world was still churning, and like it was hard for me sometimes to be like, how do people not realize that this is like sucking our souls dry? Like, what's going on, right? And so then I had to always remind myself, like, I'm just here to meet people where they're at. I can't judge them for not knowing certain things. I can't, if they don't know, they don't know, just like I didn't know before I knew, right? So it's just like having that open heart, having that compassion with people, and just focusing on your own shit, just saying, okay, how can I better myself that's also going to better the collective, right? So like, how can I be of service, basically, right? And that's why I'm saying, if you have a service, you'll be perfectly fine, right? It's just about what is your service, right? So that's like the main message that kind of, when I tapped in, wanted to come through, was just that, like, don't get discouraged by the external reality kind of crumbling, and that's where you're being asked to redirect your energy internally right now. And whenever you think, oh, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that, or I'm gonna go over here, it's like, well, why? Why am I doing this? What is the purpose? What's like the source cord of me doing this? Is it because of an unconscious wound, or is it actually coming from love, right? Is it coming from fear, or is it coming from love? And sometimes that's as simple as you need to get with it, right? Like, okay, is this fear or love? Tap in. If it's fear, get under it, figure out why. What are you afraid of? And then if it's love, then go for it, right? All right, so guys, we're going to go from the wisdom of the Oracle deck here today. We're going to pull the cards and see what comes through. I'm kind of being guided to do one for each day. Okay, let's do it. Let's do one for each day. Higher power. All right. This is getting juicy. We're just going to do the week, okay, just because I don't want to get too overwhelmed with it. Oh, as all these cards jump out. I don't want to get too overwhelmed with all the information, and I don't have a lot of space, and I got to be conscious of this microphone. Perfect. Ooh, what's that all about? Message in a bottle. Let's go to that one. It's actually the end of the week, but I'm being guided to go to it. So message in a bottle. We're gonna go to the end of the week real quick here, because this is Friday, okay, and it's reversed. So message in a bottle. The essential meaning: communication, a sign, a Cledon, the ancient name for a spontaneous oracle delivered innocently by the speaker, pointing the way to your highest good. Oh, that's so good. Spirit sends you signs when you ask for them, when you believe you will receive them, and when you allow yourself to become fluent in the language of symbols, oracles, and omens. They may come to you as a bird flying by, a logo on a truck, and a song on the radio. Expect confirmation that you're pointed in the right direction. Keep your ears open, for someone might say just the right thing that will give you the answer to your your question, your inquiry. Today, your message is this: Spirit hears you, and the reply is favorable. Perfect. So it's reversed. So there is going to be, that's just the day that you may receive messages. But if you don't want to receive them, then they're not going to come through, right? Okay, we're going to go back to Monday now, today. So the energy today is fork in the road, okay? So fork in the road. So today you may kind of be feeling a little bit lost, a little confused, a little bit kind of like torn between the head and the heart. Like, do I go this way? Do I go that way? I'm not really sure. And It's also 13. So 13 is connected to the moon cycles. There's 13 moon cycles in a year, which then connects us to our intuition and our divine feminine. And then 13 is also a 4, 1, and it was just 44, 44 on the time. I kid you not. 13 reduces to a 4, right? 1 plus 3 is 4, and that's all about foundations. And then again, the frickin' time confirming. Yeah, so there's a fork in the road. So your foundations may be kind of rickety. They may be like, and January 31st at 3:31. Just saying, guys. Can't make it up. So anyway, we're being supported by the universe, but you have to basically make a decision, right? There's some decisions going on right now. It's also like the end of the week, so maybe there's just like financial struggles with bills or certain responsibilities, and you're like, how the fuck am I going to do all this, right? So there you go. Ask the question, how the fuck am I going to do all this? And then next we have on Tuesday, higher power, right? And so it's perfect, and that's why I mentioned the 13 and the intuition and the 4 and the foundations, because on Tuesday we're going to be receiving messages, okay? So higher power is coming through. Your higher power is coming in to guide your way, to say, hey, but here's the trick, guys, you have to listen. You have to listen. So if there's one word for Tuesday that I want you to focus on, and it was just 4554, which is mirroring numbers, it is to listen, and this card's a 4 as well. Like, look at the numbers in this, guys. This is a 4, okay? So again, listen, create your foundation on intuition and not on linear logical thinking, because once you can learn to connect to your intuition, it actually matches, it makes sense of the linear logical thinking, right? Because then you can feel and match that belief instead of having the conflict between the head and the heart. So Tuesday is all about your higher self coming through and you kind of focusing on how to anchor in more solid foundations. And then Wednesday rolls around and we have go the distance, okay? Go the distance, Go the distance. And it's 47, 7 and 4 is 11. So 4 is all about foundations. 7 is a very spiritual number. Putting them together to get 11. 11 is also a very spiritual, divine feminine number. So now it's like take action on the information that you're receiving, right? Take action, go the distance, do what you need to do. Like Wednesday's going to be very action oriented because you spent Monday and Tuesday kind of like in your head about a lot of stuff, learning to listen, learning to let go, learning to release, and now you're going to actually have the guidance, right? So take the action necessary. And then we have co-create here. Co-create, and it's a 40, so there's that 4 again. Wow, guys, totally crazy foundational work going on here. So we have co-create, okay? So it's like, what are you co-creating with the universe, right? Going the distance, taking the action, and then what is the result of that action? You're kind of going to be shown, and you're going to be shown whether it's serving you or not as well, right? So it's like, okay, so I'm going to go the distance, I'm going to take the action, and you're learning how to co-create with actually the universe. That's what's coming through, right? I was thinking with other people, right? But no, the universe. So yourself and the universe, realizing you're not alone, realizing like how the universe works on a vibrational level, how your mind and your body and your heart center can seriously like manifest the craziest shit. So learning how to co-create with the universe, going back to that fork on the road and higher power about you having that as your new foundational like lens, right, of this higher perspective, higher self, and intuition-based self, less egocentric and more service to others, right? But of course, you have to, fill your own cup before you can give, right? And then we have message in a bottle on Friday. So then again, this is the universe delivering your sign. That's what I read out of the book. That's why I started on that one, so that I could understand what this meant. That's when the universe is sending you signs, right? And so co-creating with the universe. It's like fork in the road. I don't know what to do. And then your higher self comes through and says, hey, listen, I'm going to guide you. And then you take action on that guidance. And then you start to learn to co-create with the universe. And then you start receiving messages on Fridays. So guys, this is a total activation week. Let's see what comes through for the weekend, just because that was so smooth. Clean it up on Saturday. And TikTok on Sunday. So feeling like you don't have enough time. Feeling like, uh-oh, the sand grains are going through the clock, the hourglass, and once they're out, they're out. So really, the truth of it is to flip the hourglass over and realize that it's actually infinite time, right? So clean it up on Saturday, and Sunday is this kind of disillusion of time, understanding the quantum level of reality, more emotional based, heart based, non-judgment based. It was just 49.49, and coming out of the head and dropping into the heart, right? So that's how you're going to be able to shift out of that worry, that fear, that lack mentality, is by realizing and remembering that you have all the time in the world, right? Clean it up. Clean up your limiting beliefs. Clean up. Why do you feel like you don't have time? What's going on in your mind? What's going on in your heart? Why do you feel like everything needs to be done right now in this now moment, right? It's like slow down, connect to your higher self, ask for guidance, and realize that you're guided. Relationship. Practice right relationship to all that is. And that's relationship to the divine, guys. This is relationship to our higher selves. So, oh God, sorry. My legs are 50 minutes of sitting cross-legged. Okay, we're going to go down this lineup here. So with that fork in the road, we have relationship, right? So that's kind of what's going on. Your relationship to things are shifting, and your relationship to connecting to the divine is shifting as well. And on Tuesday, as higher power is coming through, we also have trust, and it's reversed. So take one step today towards trusting yourself, right? That's what your higher power is pulling through for you on Tuesday. And then for go the distance on Wednesday, we have joy. Joy is to serve, to love, and to give, right? So go the distance with joy, kindness, this new higher vibration, learning to trust, learning to surrender. Then we have freedom with co-creation. Freedom, in order to move forward, free yourself from blame. So learning to co-create with the universe and that you actually deserve it. So liberating yourself. What does freedom mean to you? That's a good one, because it's about going into our beliefs of freedom. For me, it would be like financial freedom would allow for me to live my life. But then I realized that actually that wouldn't, because I would still have emotional suppression, so I wouldn't be emotionally liberated. So wait a minute, actually I want emotional freedom. And then I was like, wait a minute, my mind's fucked. I want mental freedom. I want physical freedom. And I started realizing all these avenues of freedom that we don't even realize, and we chalk it all up to money, right? And that's not freedom. Money isn't freedom. Yeah, it allows for freedom, but if you have money, that doesn't mean that you're free, you know? Only in one perspective. And then we have for message in a bottle, let your higher self be your daily self. Come on, how perfect. Let your higher self be your daily self. Virtue. Okay, and then what's coming through for the weekend, guys? For clean it up on Saturday, invitation. Invite the questions. It contains the answers. So in order for you to clean it up, you're being asked to invite or to ask the questions so that you can invite the answers in. And then on Sunday, we have playfulness. Your precision holds your playfulness. Beautiful. And responsibilities is coming through with that too, right? In order for you to feel playful, you have to take care of your responsibilities, or you're just going to be stressed out about everything, right? So it's like when you feel like time's running out, when you feel like you don't know how this is all going to work, get creative. That's what that's all about. So start asking the questions. That's the invitation card on Saturday. Clean it up. Understand what's blocking you. Rise above your limiting beliefs. And playfulness too, right? So get creative, right? Empower yourself and others to reach with kindness. There is that kindness card as well. So empower. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And on the bottom we have gravity. Transform the heaviness into groundedness. Yes, yes, yes. That's a perfect way to end it, guys, because that is what Mother Gaia is here for. Okay, guys? She's here to support us. She's here to hold us. She's here to love us. She's here to be the mother that we all need. So utilize that energy, okay? Honor her. Remind yourself of your sacred life and your path that you're on, and learn to shoot that energy out of your hands. You have the power to release it into the earth. She will take it. She'll take all your pain, all your suffering. Just a little quick story before I head off. I was in a really, really dark place a couple years ago, and I didn't know what to do. And I was legit like ready to just like freaking explode with all my anger, all my sadness, all my frustration, the whole 9 yards. And so I live out in the country, and I went and I just like fucking laid in my field and kicked and screamed. I straight up like just had a tantrum and was like, I don't know what to do. And I had a meltdown. And I could just, after I had my meltdown and I just laid there, I just felt so supported by the earth, by Mother Gaia, by the universe. It was just like after that release, I needed that release so that I could feel that support, right? And it's like, okay, Aurora, you do got this. You know that you got this. And then I start hearing my higher self come through and guiding me and listening to my inner voice, right? So that's really what this is all about, right? Listening to your inner voice, connecting. So if you don't know, like if you don't know what to do with your emotions or your pain or your suffering, then you're being invited to go out into nature and to connect back to the life force energy, because you need life force energy, okay? So that will help to start activating the life force energy within you when you start connecting to nature. So we have peacefulness. You recognize that balance, kindness, and love bring calmness to your soul. That's what you're looking for. So balance, kindness, and love. If you are wanting to feel peaceful, focus on balance, kindness, and love. Transformation. You use the power of love to move through illusions and shift into awareness. Right? So don't fear the shadow. Transform it, right? Look it in the eyes. Honor it. Love it. Say, thank you for keeping me protected for so long, but I don't need you to protect me anymore because I'm safe, right? Give yourself that safe space. Tolerance. You appreciate others' points of views because you sense the love in everyone. And that was perfect for, you know, what's going on in Ottawa and everybody coming together, speaking their truth, unifying the whole 9 yards, right? So tolerance, meeting people where they're at, not judging them for having different beliefs than you, because then you're doing the exact same thing to them that they're trying to do to you, right? And you can't fight fire with fire. Okay, guys, last card. Friendliness. You are able to recognize traits in common with another in order to forge love-based connections. And kindness is here, and gratitude, and self-love, and unity, and patience, evolution, responsibility, empathy, ownership, freedom, priorities. There's that freedom card again. Okay, so kindness and friendliness, guys. So you are a humanitarian made of love, and you are able to share that energy with others. Friendliness, you are able to recognize traits in common with another in order to forge love-based connections. Okay, guys, so the more that we learn to love ourselves, the more that we learn to clear our field, the more that we learn to purge what isn't serving us, the more that we learn to work with the moon cycles, to learn about astrology, to learn about our emotional body, to learn about our mental body, learn about our physical body, start taking care of all these different aspects, we're going to revolutionize the entire world, because once we can step into our authenticity, into our truth, into our wholeness, then we can come at the world and say, hey guys, I want to help you guys get to this beautiful, healed, healthy state as well. We're just all imbalanced, and we're learning to get back into balance. So instead of thinking you're broken, instead of thinking that something's wrong with you, instead of thinking that you're chronically stuck with depression for the rest of your life, or any type of physical ailment, mental ailment, anything, any disease is just dis-ease, okay? You're out of balance and you need to be brought back into harmony, okay? Western medicine has programmed us into really being afraid of any type of sickness, any type of illness, because there's no cure. Well, there's fucking cures for everything, guys, and it's called coming back into balance, right? So really, like, let's shift into this Eastern philosophy. I've studied Chinese medicine, I've studied yoga, I've studied energetics of the mind, of the body, of food, of, you know, like starting to quantum physics, learning how to see the wave form of reality versus the particle form, which is the physical reality, versus the simultaneous, always existing reality, right? Which is just infinite potential, right? So anyways, words. All right, guys. So I'm heading out. It's 3:45. Perfect timing. 3:45. Forward movement. So I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope that you find what you're looking for. I hope that you start opening up your ear chakras and hearing the guidance of the higher self, of the moon, of nature, of the whole 9 yards. And I hope that you get into the rhythm of what serves you best. So I'm sending you so much love. Have an amazing week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.